Hey, it's Nikki. Before we start the show, I wanted to invite you to download a free resource that I put together for you as the listener. This is my gift to you. You can get it right now. It is the 17 buying signals. Now, I wrote a whole book about buying signals, and I wanted to put it into a really simple format that you can have at your fingertips or in front of you whenever you want to. So I took out the 17 buying signals from the book, put them on a simple PDF, also gave you the kind of what to do when you get a buying signal, and explain what a buying signal is. So that PDF is available for you as a listener to go and download right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/17. That's yoursalesmaven.com/17 so that you can start acting on these buying signals and closing more business. All right, when you're ready, let's start the show.
Are you ready to boost your confidence when selling so you're able to close more deals? Nikki Rausch will show you how to build a foundation of skills and a mindset that creates sales success without feeling pushy or salesy and without fear of rejection. She is a sales strategist and coach with more than 25 years of sales experience and is master certified in neuro-linguistic programming. This is a radically different approach to selling. It's a no sleaze, no slime, and no stress approach to building your business. This is Sales Maven. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Rausch. I'm your own personal sales maven here to offer you tips, techniques, and strategies to master your sales conversations. Today's episode is all about boosting your sales in the coming year. So first, Happy New Year, everyone. I hope that the last year treated you so well, and I am just wishing you so much success in this coming year. There are 3 things that I want to talk about today in regards to boosting your sales. First, I think it's always really important to take a look at what happened regarding your sales in the last year. Now, hopefully you do this. I want to share some of the things that I look at in case this is helpful if you haven't thought about sales in this way and kind of breaking your sales down. I break my sales down into categories. So I track this frequently throughout the month, and I actually have it color coded. I have a spreadsheet. Now I know you must be wondering, don't you have a bookkeeper, Nikki? Yes, I do. Yes, I have my financial statements. Yes, my stuff is in QuickBooks, but I am really diligent about tracking the revenue that's coming into my business every year. And the reason for that is because I can then manipulate and play with these numbers. Now, if you have a different way to do it, please do it that way. But the way that I do it is I track it on a spreadsheet, and I put on my spreadsheet the date. So I track by month. So the date that the order or sale came through, who it was, obviously who I sold it to. And then in the color coded section, I have a tag of what the service was that I sold, and then the amount that was sold, right? And then I track all of that throughout the month. And I run this report frequently and I update my spreadsheet frequently because it reminds me of how am I doing? Am I on track? Am I going to hit my goal for the month? If not, what do I need to do to ensure that I hit my goal? This maybe comes from my background, in corporate sales, where we would get our numbers put in front of us at least once a week, usually more often than that. But we could always see where we were tracking. So we knew how far we were from reaching that month's quota, that month's goal. So I still do that today in my business. And then at the end of the year, I have all this color-coded stuff broken down into categories. And then I run a report and I look and I see what percentage did each category contribute to my overall revenue goal. Now, the reason I do this is because it helps me make decisions on what am I going to focus on in the coming year, and what do I want to let go of that either didn't bring in revenue or maybe was just a real drain on my energy and time suck and all those things that I want to get off my plate so that I can really show up as the best version of myself and continue to scale my business in the way that fits my lifestyle. So a couple of years ago, from running this report at the end of the year, it got really clear to me that I was pushing really hard in one category to grow a certain category, but that category really wasn't even contributing 10% of the overall revenue, but it was probably taking 20% of my effort. So I stopped focusing on that and I started focusing on really my top 3 categories. So this last year, I actually had 18 categories of different types of services that I sold, but really I only focused on the top 3. So the 18, yes, they came and yes, there was money that was brought into the business, but that wasn't my focus. So I'm wondering for you, what are your top categories that are really contributing to your bottom line? Because sometimes you're pushing these like big boulders up a hill and it's like, is that really worth it when you look and break your numbers down by categories and like which services are people buying? The other thing that I found a couple years ago was there are 3 services that I offer that feed each other. And that was like this huge aha for me. So I don't know if you've ever looked at this, and I share this a lot with clients and encourage them to look for ways that a certain service that they provide might lead itself to sell another service and vice versa. So for me, my top 3 categories are the Sales Maven Society. The number 2 category is my masterclasses, and number 3 are society. Not society, I just said society, our strategy sessions. So it's society, masterclasses, and strategy sessions. And each of those feed each other. And the best part is those are the 3 things that I most enjoy in my business. Now, that's not to say that I don't enjoy my VIP clients or some of my private monthly coaching client work. I do. But the things that I really love that really light my fire are these top 3 categories, and they feed each other. So it's really common for Sales Maven Society members to take a masterclass with me. And it's also really common for society members to do strategy sessions. It's really common for somebody who does a strategy session with me to come and take a masterclass. So you see where I'm going with this. Like they feed each other. Have you looked at your own numbers and figured out what feeds each other? And that may be where you want to put your focus to really boost your sales. Because I will say that when I really got clear on this, it's been shocking to see the growth in those 3 categories. I can look back year over year in some of these other categories, these other 15 categories some have grown a little bit, some have shrunk. I don't have as many categories I didn't in 2021 that I did in 2020, and definitely not as many as I had in 2019. But that's because I'm trying to, hone in on the things that really work, let go of the things that don't work. So anyway, if you haven't looked at your numbers in this way, I would really encourage you to do this. It doesn't take that much time. I would say I probably spend less than an hour a month total tracking this, and I track it frequently and really being able to break it down. And then at the end of the year, I've got this really easy spreadsheet to manipulate and kind of break down these categories and get really clear on it. Sometimes I'm surprised. There are years where I'll break down these categories and I'll be surprised at how little something contributed or sometimes how much something contributed. This year, there was a really nice surprise. I was pretty excited about one particular category. The growth over last year was significant. And I can attribute those to certain things, certain promotions that I did. So it also will help feed the promotions that happen in the coming year as a result. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you today in case you haven't looked at your numbers in this way. And if you were to take a look and break it down by category, what would you find? The other thing that I do is when a certain category, if I want to really figure out, is like I track back who were the clients because I can look and see who bought whatever service. And then I'll track back where did that client originate from. That allows for me to make some decisions on where I'm going to spend my time and money as in regards to marketing to bring more of those types of leads into the business. So maybe you've heard me talk about this before, but I talk about it a lot with my private coaching clients, but I wanted to share it today, this idea of boosting sales, because it's something that comes up a lot in conversation with the people that I get to work with, because boosting your sales is pretty much my primary business and message. So I just wanted to share it with you in case it would give you some insight into your own business on where you want to go next. Now, I mentioned there are 3 things that I wanted to cover today in regards to boosting your sales, because everybody is always saying to me, I need more leads. I want more sales. And I get this. Who doesn't, right? Well, maybe you don't, but most of us do. And so that's going to lead to the number 2 thing that I wanted to talk about today. I got asked this. Actually, I've been asked this twice in the last month or so. On 2 different occasions. One was in a group setting and one was in a private coaching call, when somebody, these 2 different people asked, like, what's something that you never get asked, Nikki, but you wish that you did? Or what's a piece of advice? I'm trying to think of how it was phrased. It was like, what's a piece of advice that you rarely talk about because people don't ask you about it? Or something like that. And so it got me thinking. Now, my initial response is something that I do say all the time, which was, you need to sell more. And I don't mean like raise your numbers. Of course, that's true. But what I mean by that is you need to put out more offers more frequently. That's like my knee-jerk response. But then I really wanted to think about what my true answer, like, is there a deeper answer? And so I want to share it with you today in case it's helpful. So if you were going to ask me right now, like, what's one piece of advice that I would give to people who are interested in growing their business and growing their sales, is I would encourage you to really step outside of your comfort zone with the groups that you currently associate with. The relationships that you've built, yes, you want to maintain those, but sometimes we have to get out of our own little pool of people and really stretch ourselves and put ourselves at tables and in conversations with people who are doing things that are way ahead of us. And I find that sometimes that, well, at least for me, we'll see if you feel the same, that can be incredibly intimidating. And especially if you have done well in your business and you have a following, you have people who look to you as an expert and people who aspire to reach whatever level that you've reached, I think sometimes ego can get in our way. And so we don't put ourselves in these rooms where we're no longer the big fish. We're like the little fish swimming, trying to catch up to these people who have accomplished more than we've accomplished, who have grown to some level that we want to grow. And I just find that it can be a very intimidating place to be, but yet it's the place where you're really going to see growth happen. One of the things that I know for certain is that a lot of the best opportunities that have come in my business have come from me having connections to somebody. Somebody has opened a door for me. And I know that you've heard me talk about this on the podcast. I know that I did an episode with Kenyetta Christmas a couple months ago, and she was talking about wanting to bring more leads into her business. And the advice that I gave her was, use your network. And I kind of broke this down, and I have a training around this called Authentic Sales Conversations, of how to use your network, how to, ask for introductions, and how to, name drop, and how to use like-minded kind of messaging to open doors for you. But the thing that I didn't talk about there, which is what I'm talking about today, is that you have to put yourself in situations to meet new people, to connect with new people. And that usually happens when you invest in yourself. Sometimes you have to buy a seat at the table to have discussions and make connections with people that you wouldn't otherwise just run into. So I know a lot of times when people say to me, Nikki, I want more sales. I'm not getting enough leads, so my business isn't growing. And then I ask, like, how are you investing? How are you investing in yourself? How are you investing in your business? And a lot of times the answer is, I don't have any money to invest in myself or my business. It's super hard to grow with that mindset. Now, I'm not saying don't pay your bills. You have to do what you have to do, but you have to invest. You have to stretch yourself, and then you have to make it count. If you are going to join a coaching program, or if you're going to go join a mastermind, or if you're going to attend a conference, and it's a significant amount of time and money that you're putting out to be there, make it count. So I have a situation where a couple months ago, I got invited to be a part of what was essentially like a beta of a program, and it's a mastermind program. And I said yes to it. And it's a big financial commitment. It's a huge financial commitment, actually, one of the bigger ones. And I invest in myself a lot, and I invest in my business a lot. So it was a pretty significant investment. But I knew that going in. And so I also take this approach of making sure that I make it count. So I incorporate my Strive 5. I think I've talked about the Strive 5 on the podcast before, but I'm going to just go through it really quickly in case you're hearing it for the first time. But Strive 5 is a list that I put together of people that I want to build relationship with. And I have multiple Strive 5 lists, depending on where I'm going, who I'm going to be around. I always have a Strive 5 list when I attend live events. And I always have a Strive 5 list when I sign up for a coaching program, or when I sign up for like a mastermind or any of those types of things. And so I make a list of 5 people that I want to really build relationship with. Now, I'm not saying these are 5 people that I want to sell to. These are 5 people that I want to send clients to me. I really take this approach initially. Now, you could have a Strive 5 list for those things. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, my Strive 5 lists are typically just 5 people I want to build a relationship with, because I know that relationships amount and they like progress into something fantastic in my business. And I can track this back over and over and over again. And so I go out of my way to build relationship, to make little touches to deepen connection every time I come into contact with somebody who's on my Strive 5 list. And again, I know I've shared this on the podcast before, but to kind of bring this to light. So with my mastermind that I'm in right now, I have my Strive 5 list of people. And by the way, once I build relationship with somebody on there and I feel like, okay, this has really gotten to a level I feel really good about it, sometimes that person might come off the list. Not like that I don't want to continue to build relationship with them, but I'll put somebody new on there to continue to push myself and strive to make deeper connections with people. And so back to the mastermind. So I have my Strive 5 list. A couple months ago, I attended a live event with this mastermind, and I went out of my way to either like go and initiate conversation with people on the Strive 5 list, sit by people who were on the Strive 5 list. I would seek them out when we were going to dinner. So if I could sit by them, things like that, to just build relationship. And already, I didn't go in with any intention of thinking like, oh, this person's going to bring business to me, or this person is going to do something for me. It was just about building connection and relationship. And already I've seen huge things happen from building this list. Somebody on the Strive 5 list has become a client. Somebody on the Strive 5 list has already opened this huge door for me for a new opportunity that will generate quite a bit of revenue in my business. I have people on the Strive 5 list where I'll be on their podcast as a result of building relationships. So I want to encourage you to think about, what are you going to do to step outside of your comfort zone this year and really put yourself in rooms and in conversations and in groups where you can build more connection, because by building your network, you really have opportunity to grow your business. Things happen, opportunities get presented to you that you don't get otherwise. I had shared about that I joined this mastermind. I had shared it with my coach, and I was sharing that I was feeling kind of intimidated, frankly, because I put myself in a mastermind with people who I feel like are way ahead of me in business. And he was like, "Congratulations, you're the dumb poor one in the group." And I was like, "Oh, that's so good." That's so good, because sometimes you don't want to be the most successful person in the room. It's nice to feel that in some areas, but you're not going to grow there. Where you're going to grow is, frankly, now I would never frame it this way to one of my clients as the dumb poor one, but I'm willing to claim that title in this group and feel really comfortable of like, I'm going to strive and see what happens. So I want to encourage you, in a way to boost your sales in this coming year, is put yourself in rooms where you are with people who feel out of your league. You're with people who are doing things that you want to do and accomplish and are so far ahead of you in wherever it is that you want to go, and see what happens. I think magic will happen as a result. Okay, number 3, the third thing that I want to talk about as boosting your sales in 2022 harkens back to the word of the year. So I don't know if you do this, but every year I come up with a word. It's my word of the year. It helps me kind of stay grounded and focused and think about like, what am I really doing? And I've been doing this for years in my business. And I came across a word recently. I was reading, somebody on my Strive 5 list actually introduced me to something called 100 Days of Believing Bigger. It's a devotional journal. It's by Marshawn Evans. Now, I don't know if you want to check it out, but I will say, if, depends on your belief systems, it's a lot based around like God and what God has and wants for you. So if that's not your thing, don't go check out the journal. If it is your thing, you might want to check it out. I think it's awesome. I'm loving that I'm doing this. But in there was, I think it's like day 27 or something. And there was a word in there, and it has really popped out to me. It's my word of the year, but I'm sharing it with you today because I want to remind you that whether or not you like this word, this is how you are seen. And the word is incomparable. Or depending on how you say it, some people say it incomparable, which I like that version too. And it's just talking about how there is nobody who shows up with your experience. There is nobody who brings your expertise to the table with your stories, with the things that you've gone through in your life, with your messes, with your successes. All of that makes you incomparable or incomparable. And I just want you to remember, as you are growing into your sales in 2022, that you do have something great to offer. You have the ability to make an impact in the lives of the people that you come into contact with. And instead of comparing yourself to anybody else and where they are and what they've accomplished, and if it makes you feel bad in any way, please take a moment to really embrace. And if it helps that I'm saying it, I will say, I truly, truly believe that you are incomparable to anybody else. And so you bring value to the world, to your business, to everything that you're doing. And that means sometimes that you need to raise your prices. Sometimes that means you need to put yourself out there more. I'm going to say it always means that you need to make offers more frequently to your email list. Give people the opportunity to experience what it's like to work with you. And if you do that more than you've done it in the past, you will likely find that your sales do raise. You do boost your sales as a result. All right. As we bring this episode to a close, I hope these 3 things, or at least one of them, was helpful for you today. There is a new theme for 2022. 2021 was my year of the question. 2022 is the year of connection. Because as much as I believe in honing your sales skills and really asking better questions and creating better conversation, I also know the power of connection and what can happen for you. So I want to share some of my favorite connections, people who have made an impact in my life and in my business, in case you want to connect with them as well. You never know what can happen. So that's what I'm going to be sharing throughout the year on the episodes is a connection, somebody for you to reach out to and connect with. Could be on social media, could be that maybe you need their services, or it could be that you want to show up in the rooms where they're showing up, whatever that means for you. So my connection for today's episode is Michelle Cooper. Michelle Cooper owns Alchemy Accounting, and the website is alchemyaccounting.ca. She's in Canada. Michelle is my CFO, and she is brilliant and makes this huge impact in my life and in my business. We met in a group coaching program years ago, and we have stayed connected. We have become good friends. We do business together. She's a client of mine. I have been a client of hers for many, many years, and she's just brilliant. She's brilliant when it comes to anything around money. I consider her a strategic partner in my business. She often spurs me and encourages me to stretch myself, come up with new ideas, make new offers. She also really keeps me in line as far as my spending, my expenses. She helps me figure out some strategic direction of, I just got done having a VIP day with her of like what's going to happen in the business, some really exciting things for myself and my team in 2022. And that all came because I could have these conversations with her. So one of the best ways to connect with Michelle is on Facebook. She loves Facebook, and that's pretty much where, if you want to connect with her, you can connect with her there. Obviously, I gave her website as well, but I hope that's helpful. Thank you so much for being here and listening. I have some exciting things coming for you as the podcast listener in 2022, and I so appreciate you being here. If we haven't connected yet on social media, let's do that. And I want to hear from you. What's your word? Share your word with me if you're willing for 2022. Share what are your focuses in your business in 2022? How are you going to boost your sales? I would love to hear from you. So you can hang out with me on Instagram. I'm there under Sales Maven. You can hang out with me on LinkedIn. I'm also there under Nikki Rausch or Sales Maven. And you can also come join the Sales Maven Society, which is my group coaching program. Would love to have you come be a part of that. There's a special offer in the show notes for you there. And thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day. And here's to a very successful year for you.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.